Hello everyone, my name is Karleigh and I live with my husband Sam on a broadacre property in the Wimmera in Victoria. On our property we farm sheep and cattle and grow cereal and legume crops. For my research project I investigated the environmental impact wind erosion has on the sustainability of broadacre cereal and legume production. Wind erosion is the movement of soil particles through air that is powered by wind travelling at a minimum of 20 kilometres per hour. People typically refer to wind erosion as a dust storm. Two visual indicators that wind erosion has occurred include a build-up of soil against fence lines and exposed tree roots. Wind alone doesn't cause wind erosion, it is the combination of wind and exposed soil particles. Soil essentially becomes exposed due to a lack of ground cover. According to the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries, ground cover is any material, dead or alive, situated on or near the soil, protecting it from the wind. The Australian Government National Land Care Program explains that wind erosion is a natural process, but certain agricultural practices can accelerate and exacerbate the problem. These agricultural practices may include, but are not limited to, farmers overgrazing their paddocks for extended periods of time, cultivating or overworking the land, burning stubbles, and a lack of vegetation, including stubble from previous crops and native trees and grasses. In December 2017, I was travelling home from Bendigo, Victoria, when I witnessed wind erosion. On one side of the road, dust was blowing above a bare paddock, and on the other side of the road, there was no dust blowing because there was stubble protecting the soil. The soil blown away during a wind erosion event is referred to as topsoil. Topsoil is the most productive, nutrient-rich soil. It contains organic matter and water-retaining molecules essential for crop production. Topsoil is essentially non-renewable. According to Agricultural Victoria, it takes over 100 years to form as little as 2 millimetres of soil. An interesting fact, during February 1983, following the drought of 1982, it was estimated that over 250,000 tonnes of topsoil was blown over Melbourne. If farmers manage their land effectively, they can decrease the amount of exposed soil on their land, making their property less susceptible to wind erosion. Strategies farmers can use to minimise their risk of wind erosion include planning how to graze stock. Farmers need to ensure they do not overgraze their paddocks and, if necessary, use confinement feeding spaces, particularly in dry years. Use no-till seeding equipment. This equipment allows farmers to sow their crops while inflicting little disturbance on the soil. It also allows stubble or residue from the previous crop to remain and shelter the soil. Plant shelter belts. Shelter belts are rows of trees that protect soil by intercepting the wind. Topsoil is virtually non-renewable due to the hundreds of years it takes to form, and it can be blown away in a matter of hours during a severe windstorm if it is not managed appropriately. Farmers manage approximately 60% of the land in Australia. Therefore, the choices made by farmers about how to manage their property directly impacts the wider community, both at the local and national level. My research could be taken further by investigating what options farmers have to restore the health of their soil once it has been affected by wind erosion. For example, what nutrients can farmers manually put back into the ground? Before commencing my research, I had experienced many wind erosion events, but I never understood the extensive damage that was occurring to the productivity of the soil and consequently the viability of the land. Government Department and Agricultural Association websites form the majority of my research because the information on these websites is based on current and up-to-date research in the industry and was specific to my investigation. While investigating the learning area science of the Australian curriculum, I found two content descriptors that would be appropriately addressed by learning about wind erosion at the Year 4 level. These are outlined on the screen. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation about wind erosion.